Yo YouTube, what is up, and welcome back to another video. And in today's video we're finally gonna finish up our tier list. Today's tier list is gonna be melee and range DPS put together. I figure I've been making too many tier lists, so I'm gonna go ahead and pump this one out, but this time bring everything that's left to be done put together and hurry up and get this tier list stuff done. That way I can get into better content in the future. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right in to the tier list. And welcome to the video. And like I said in the intro to this, we're just going to go ahead and do DPS or melee DPS and range DPS in this video. That way we have no more tier lists to make, because I'm personally getting tired of making tier lists. I feel like, yes, they get views. Yes, they do this. Yes, they do that. Yes, they get arguments started in the chat section or the comment section. But I would like to get to like more personalized content, not just tier list videos. I feel like if you just put out tier list videos, you're just trying to get the views. And that's not what we're trying to do here. All right. But with all that said, let's go ahead and start with my first job that I want to start with, which is the samurai. And we all know the samurai is going to be an S tier. One, it does the highest DPS. It's the black mage of melee DPS. Like, there's nothing more to be said about it. It's just too strong. Plus, yes, it has no team utility, but it's got the big crits. And if you're into anime, the job just makes you feel like you're at home. But other than that, I have played the samurai a good bit recently, and I really enjoy it. The only thing I can say is I don't care for its job quest. Its job quests to me are boring. I'm not a big fan of it. Other than that, I can't really find a con to the samurai because it's easy to play. It's noob friendly, as well as it's just pretty accessible overall. The only thing I can say is the con: one, it brings no utility. Two, it unlocked later when you hit level 60. But they were the only two things I can hold against it, and they're not big enough to bring it down from an S tier. So that's why I'm going to leave the samurai as an S tier. And let's go ahead and do the monk. The monk, out of all of them, is the one I have the least experience on. But I have a lot of respect for monk players. Monks bring a lot to the table. You have to really be very good at the positionals to get it to have the damage of a samurai, but if you can, its opportunities there. And that's mainly why I put it up there as an S tier, because let's be honest, you have the capability of being up there with a samurai plus some. But the only downside to it is a harder job to play. It does have a skill ceiling that is pretty high. But if you can hit that skill ceiling and do it continuously, then you are probably going to be more useful than a samurai 9 times out of 10. Because all the samurai has is damage. And then plus you got to think about grease lightning. You start moving like a motherfucking car, like a freight train, just punching. That's just kind of... that just makes it more enjoyable because it's such a fluid job because of the speed it has. But that's why I would put the monk in S tier. It definitely has the capability of pushing past its boundaries. The bard is the next one on the list. And sadly, I'm going to put the bard at B. I think the bard's at B mainly because all it really does is have utility. Yes, its damage is there, but it's not that good of damage. I think it could have better damage, and it just really, it's RNG, but it has the least RNG out of the range DPS. That is the truth. It has more controlled RNG. compared to the Dancer. The Dancer is just absolutely riddled with RNG. I'm trying to think of like other things I can say about this job, but it's pretty like straightforward on this job. You have utility, you're ranged, it's not as RNG as other jobs. It's safe pick, it's very good for raid teams. Dungeons, it's okay, but for in-game content like raids, that's utility is really there. But mainly a lot of people would pick a Dancer up because even with the RNG, it does give a Samurai to have unbelievable damage, or a Black Mage unbelievable damage. Whoever's your dance partner will definitely be glad that they have a Dancer other than a Bard, because its single target buffs on the Dancer are amazing. But we'll get to the Dancer after we finish the Bard. I just think overall the Bard has the potential of being an A job, but the problem with a lot of the ranged DPS is they just fall flat in areas, and they kind of need to be reworked in a way. Like, I'm not saying like a massive overhaul, but there has to be somewhat of a change in these jobs. They're just, to me, they're not the funnest to play. You just kind of stand in the back and wait and shoot, and then you hope you get one of your procs. But if you don't get your proc, then you got to keep going through your circle or your rotation and hope you get the proc again. You don't get it, then you got to keep doing it. And that's why I would put the Bard as a B. Mainly I think all the ranged DPS to me are not going to be that high. But now we have the Ninja. And I'd put that Ninja as an A tier. I love playing the Ninja. That was one of the jobs I picked up and played the shit out of. I love the Ninja. Has great, its trick attack utility. Woo, it's amazing. But I think it has the strongest opening. And it has, I believe, the strongest single target attack in the game, which makes its opening very volatile. But the Ninja to me requires a lot of skill. It's also known as the Bunny Mage because if you mess up on any of your Mudras, you now summon a bunny on your head that makes you look ridiculous. And I get that. It's definitely one of the jobs you kind of want to get nailed down and not really mess up on. Like, I'm almost tempted to put it in S tier, but I don't think it's up there with the Monk or the Samurai. I think their 2 damage, overall sustaining damage, is very good. But I can't ignore the Ninja's opening. The Ninja has a solid opening. And I can't really see any downsides. Like, I played this job. The only real downside of it was the Mudra system. But I'd only been playing it for a week, so I didn't really know the Mudra all the way. But I think it's an A tier job, mainly because it has the opening, it has its trick attack. It just lacks something the Monk and Samurai have. And I don't exactly know what that is, because off the top of my head, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I'm like, well, the Samurai has this, the Monk has this, and I'm like, well, the Ninja has the Mudras, the Ninja has the opening, the Ninja has the trick attack. Maybe it could have a little bit more utility, but you're a Ninja. You're not there to support the team. You're there to kill from the dark. And I don't know, just something in me saying that's an A tier job and not an S tier. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave the Ninja at an A. I definitely will come back to this after we get them all placed to see if I want to make any adjustments. But before we make any of the adjustments, let's go ahead and move on to the Machinist. And I'm going to end up putting the Machinist as a C tier. And the reason being is because if you look at all the range DPS, all of them, Bard, Dancer, Machinist, they all have utility for the team except for the Machinist. The Machinist doesn't bring anything but damage. And you could make a case, well, the Samurai brings nothing but utility, but the Samurai has amazing damage. The Machinist only has the best range damage. And ranged is barely above the healers, I want to say, in damage. So their damage isn't really what you want them for. You really bring a ranged DPS for the utility. So I feel like you'll leave this one behind and pick up a Bard or a Dancer. And there are opportunities in which, like, let's say you have a Monk, Ninja, Dragoon. Okay. You probably will bring a Machinist. Because them are the ones that are not, depending on how skilled the player is, they might need more damage from another job. But let's say it's a Samurai, Black Mage, Dancer, and Monk. Instantly, you know the Dancer's going to buff one of these other jobs. So they don't need the damage. They don't need the damage a Machinist would supplement in for the lack of damage, because they've already got the two strongest jobs in the game. So really, they need utility to just better the team more. And that's where the Dancer would come in. But the Machinist is just there for damage. It brings no utility. And yes, I'll agree. I'll be the first one to agree. I think the Machinist is a very fun job to play. Better than the Bard. I'm not a big fan of the RNG on the Bard and the Dancer. I'm really not. I like the identity of the classes. I really love the fact that the Bard has instruments you can play, the actions, all that, like the performances and all that. Like, that's fun. But I don't care for the RNG procs I gotta hit. I don't care to keep up all the procs. I don't like that stuff. To me, overwhelms me more than anything, and I don't like that. But back to the Machinist. I think the Machinist is just generally damage, and the range DPS do really put out some damage like that. But they're not melee damage. They're not caster damage. They're mainly there to buff the party, and if they're not gonna buff the party, then they're there to make up for some damage. And it's rare to not have a Samurai or a Black Mage in the party, or both of them, in my opinion. And I'm just gonna leave the Machinist to see. It's sad. It's a very good PvP job. I know this is the first job I'm gonna bring PvP up to, but if I'm playing PvP, I'm picking up Machinist or a Dragoon. Them are my jobs I'd play in PvP. Just the general range and all that. But speaking of the Dragoon, A tier. I love Dragoon. As you can currently see on my show that I just got done last night, love Dragoon. I'm putting Dragoon as an A tier because 1, has utility. 2, good damage. It's like the 3rd in damage overall, I believe, on the logs. I could be wrong. I haven't checked the logs in a week, so excuse me for if that is wrong. If it is not the 3rd best in damage, I apologize, but I do think the Dragoon is an amazing job and deserves to be there right next to the Ninja. I think it's clear an A tier job. I don't think it could be put to an S tier. I do think there's an argument to be had to move it down to a B tier. But overall, I think it's an A tier. Like, I enjoy the job. It's fun. It's got cool glamour. It's good in PvP. It brings utility. It's got the damage. Like, I can't really make an argument for it not being an A tier job. And I'm pretty sure somebody in the comment section will let me know down below where they think some of these jobs should have ended up. But so far, I think I'm doing a spot-on job where I think these jobs should be. And I mean, hey, let me know. If you think they should be elsewhere, just go ahead, drop a comment. Just drop a comment. Go ahead, hit that like button while you're at it. Because if you're going to make a comment, might as well like the video. And if you're going to like the video and comment, you might as well take the 5 seconds to subscribe to the channel. And the reason I say go ahead and hit the subscribe to the channel is, one, I think it's like 90% people that watch my videos are unsubscribed. 90. Only 10% watch my video that are subscribed. So go ahead and subscribe. It ain't gonna hurt anything. And you'll get great content from me every Wednesday and Sunday. So it's a win-win. But with that being said, let's get back to the Dragoon. I think the Dragoon is an A tier. That's where I'm gonna put it. And that's going to be the end of that one. And the Dancer. And unfortunately, I think I'm going to put the Dancer as an A tier. Nah, let's put it as B tier. I think the Bard and the Dancer are the same. And the reason I put the Dancer at a B tier instead of an A tier is it's just too RNG heavy for me. The RNGs on footsteps and all that, I'm not a big fan of it. RNG and all that just does not work well for me, in my opinion. And I know you can only get rid of some of the RNG in the game, but I would prefer to get rid of all of it if I had a chance. But RNG sometimes makes the game. Let's start with the damage on the Dancer. Damage on the Dancer is the least out of any of the range DPS. It's not very strong. Utility, it's got the best utility, in my opinion, for single target buffs. The Bard brings party buffs, the Dancer brings single target buffs, and some heals. And I think it's not way above the Bard in utility, but it is below the Bard in damage. So I can't supplement the fact that it does have some of the better buffs when it has the least amount of damage. That's ultimately in my head what keeps it from being an A tier job. It is fun to play. You do have great mobility. I've never played it in PvP. I've barely even touched it on, honestly. I've probably touched the Monk more than I've touched the Dancer, just because the freaking RNG. I'm not a fan of that. It's a RNG heavy job. And I get why people would main it, but I feel sad for the fact they have to worry about the RNG. But I don't really have much to say on the Dancer. I just think it's a B tier job with the Bard. Definitely think it's a B tier job, and that's why I'm going to leave it there. Okay, now let's do the overview. We have Samurai and Monk as S tier. I strongly believe they should stay there. Strongly for S. A tier, we have the Ninja and Dragoon. Now, I'm still struggling with the Ninja, but I think ultimately I should leave it A tier because it just misses out on some things that I think the Monk and Samurai have, but I can't put a finger on what I think it is. But we're going to go ahead and leave these two as an A tier. I don't have anything to say about the Dragoon. I want it to be an S tier, but it's not. It's an A tier. I'm just going to be brutally honest. It's an A tier job. Now, the Bard. Bard and Dancer. They're perfectly where they need to be. They're perfect. I don't think there's anything I could do to change that. I think that's where they belong, and that's where they should stay. Now, Machinist. I feel sad for the Machinist, because out of all the range DPS, I have more fun on that one than any of the other ones. But it doesn't bring utility. Yes, it has damage, but it doesn't have that much more damage than the others, in my opinion. And I think the others bring more to the table than that one does. With all that being said, I think I've created the best tier list that I can with the knowledge that I hold on these jobs. Hope you enjoyed the video, and there's my tier list. Thank you for all watching the video, and I'll see you Wednesday. Goodbye.